Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com, and welcome to This Week in Prophecy. We've had a busy week. Topics for this week: Hamas and the Red Heifer. It's a strange connection. Red Sea and the Houthis. Iran's been very busy this past week and currently today. Russia and NATO and the World Economic Forum. The rich and powerful elite met this week in Davos, Switzerland. Anyway, before we get to those folks, let's going to start with scripture reference, Numbers 19, verses 1 and 2. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the statute of the law, which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, that they bring you an unblemished red heifer, in which is no defect, and on which a yoke has never been placed. Now, for those of you who have been following along for some time, you know we've been keeping a close eye on the significance of the pending 10th red heifer. Has to be sacrificed before there can be a third temple. Friendly reminder, I guess it would be on... Oh gosh, this would have been about a year ago. What was the date? I think it was last fall or 2 falls ago. Would have been in actually September of 22. September 2022. Got a link to this article provided. 5 red heifers were flown to Israel from Texas. So a lot of you are probably asking, well, what in the world? What does Hamas and red heifers have to do with each other? How does Hamas know about the red heifer? Why does Hamas even care about the red heifer? But they are acutely aware of the significance of the red heifer. And this was from Adam Berkowitz at Israel365news.com, link provided for this article for those of you who want to get into the details of it. The money quote comes from Abu Obaida, military spokesman, Al-Qassam Brigades. That's the military wing or a military wing of Hamas. We look back 100 days to remember the educated, the complicit, and the incapacitated among the world powers governed by the law of the jungle, reminding them of an aggression that reached its peak against our path, Al-Quds, that's what they call Jerusalem, and Al-Aqsa, that'd be the mosque on the Temple Mount, with the start of its actual temporal and spatial division and the bringing of red cows as an application of a detestable religious myth designed for aggression against the feelings of an entire nation in the heart of its Arab identity and the path of its prophet, the night journey. This would be in reference to Muhammad and how he got on some winged creature and flew to Jerusalem, Temple Mount, ascended to heaven. And again, that's from Abu Obaida, military spokesman, Al-Qassam Brigades, Hamas. Here is the article. Whoops, go away. I chose not to put this post up. Here he is. Apparently, he's iconic, according to Palestine Chronicle. Some people thought he was dead, but he's back. Made another speech. If you want to read the details, I'll let you guys read it. I'm not going to go into any further. But anyhow, they're aware of the red heifers. They're aware of the significance of it, what the sacrifice of the red heifer means. And that's the thing, too. Evil knows its time is short. And we know who is behind all this ultimately, in Satan. And if they're willing, as a major part or a significant part of their invasion or act against Israel on October 7, and this red heifer is part of the reason why they thought it was necessary to launch an attack into Israel. I mean, to me, that's telling that evil knows its time is getting short, because essentially you eliminate the red heifer, well, then that delays any potential sacrifice and construction of third temple. So just a thought. What does evil know about one of those heifers? 5 of them, by the way. Can't get them all. They're all spread out. And again, click on this. Get the update from when we reported on this again back in September of 2022. And we've got years of articles regarding the red heifer. So if you want to click on this link, we've been following this for years, and the prophetic implications of the red heifer. Click on the link below. You can read all the details. And just kind of fast forwarding oral traditions as related by the Temple Institute. Now, granted, this is not in the Bible, but it is the Temple Institute who will be completing the sacrifice of said red heifer. And per oral traditions and a little bit about what they're reading in Numbers 19, that's going to be the criteria for sacrifice of a red heifer. Needs to be at least 3 or 4 years old. So the earliest said red heifer could be sacrificed would have been 14 months from now, which would have been, oh gosh, at that time would have been what, summer of 23, when we had a follow-up article, and that's assuming the red heifer was a year when it got to Israel from Texas. Roughly give a target of September 2024 for the earliest sacrifice of a red heifer, and have the ashes for purification. But we would be looking at September of this year, 2024, or Jewish year 5785. Rosh Hashanah, sunset Wednesday, October 2nd of fall 2024. So makes you wonder what's coming. And all the sacrifice of the red heifer would clear the way from a religious, spiritual standpoint for the construction of the third temple. And I know you folks are out there, we don't need a third temple. We don't need a third temple. Yes, I understand that. We don't need a third temple. However, Jesus himself prophesied, quoting Daniel, the Apostle Paul as well, there will be a third temple. It is prophetic. It's not necessary, but it is prophetic because the Antichrist has to have something to profane and desecrate. So we're going to have it. Revelation talks about it. I mean, I've just mentioned 3 or 4 places. Then we can have a discussion, about, is there, the fourth temple, will Christ himself build that? Looking at Ezekiel, I want to say Ezekiel 40 through 48, somewhere in that neighborhood. Talks of a temple construction as well. So, needless to say, third temple's coming. And it begs the question, how close are we? So Hamas seems to care about it. And with that, we're going to go to our Gaza update. A little reminder, historical reminder from 1 Chronicles 18, verse 1. After this, David defeated the Philistines and subdued them. And he took Gath and its villages out of the hand of the Philistines. So it was not unusual, or it is a historical factor too, that Israel, behind the leadership of David, defeated the Philistines, or the modern day Gaza Strip and areas around that, a little bit to the north and to the east. Looks like history is repeating itself currently. Gaza situation map update from War Mapper. Excellent stuff from War Mapper. Has been my go-to site on X, formerly known as Twitter. The IDF have expanded control along the border and around the Al-Maghazi camp in central Gaza. They've also continued a gradual expansion of operations in southeastern Khan Yunis. We'll click on this, let you all get a better view of these maps right here. Here's the one, again, northern Gaza Strip. This is the evacuation warning. Historically, when you see this red outline, it's about to be expanded, or the ground tasks of the IDF are about to be expanded into these areas. Also have continued a gradual of expansions in southeastern Khan Yunis. That would be this area. Looks like we've expanded some more. This area will be absorbed at some point as well. I'm going to give you a feel for what's taken place on the ground in the Gaza Strip. Transition to the Red Sea. Hebrews 11, verse 29, by faith the people crossed the Red Sea as on dry land, but the Egyptians, when they attempted to do the same, were drowned. So a little fun fact here. This is one of the two times, I think that's right, the Red Sea is referenced in the New Testament. Again, we're going to go to War Mapper for some information. A map of the attacks by the Houthi rebels on commercial shipping off the coast of Yemen. Vast majority of incidents have occurred outside the Yemeni territorial waters, and many have taken place away from Houthi-controlled areas. But none the same, because of all the activity here in the southern Red Sea, this thing's been shut off pretty much commercially. And War Mapper gives a shout out to @DET. I don't know what that's all about, but you can have the link if you want to see some of their resources as well. But all the activity's been taking place down here in the southern portion of the Red Sea. Major shipping companies are now saying, no, we will not go through the Red Sea. We will go south around the southern tip of Africa to get to Europe and to the west. So, that's going to add significant time, fuel, and cost, which we will be feeling the effects of. Now, the Houthis made an announcement. They will allow Chinese and Russian ships to go through the Red Sea, but nobody else, as if they're in control of it. Now, the United States and NATO and some other forces have all kinds of military hardware, naval hardware in the region. This continues to escalate. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in today's broadcast. That is expanding and increasing in frequency from the Houthi standpoint and from the United States and allied resources. The Brits have introduced lasers into the escalation to take out drones and missiles. All kinds of stuff happening in and around the Red Sea. Going to take a look at Ezekiel 38, verse 5, and Persia, or Elam, what we would consider to be modern day Iran. And so this is what they've done this week. This is a great map from Drew Pavlu. Iran arms Russia to attack Ukraine, bombs Pakistan, Syria, and Iraq, arms Hezbollah and Hamas to try to massacre Jews. And that's pretty much what they've done. And then some questions. Where are the anti-war protesters? Why aren't people protesting outside Iranian embassies? Well, no. And so this is what's happened on the 16th. So it had been 4 days ago, earlier in the week. Launched missiles into Pakistan. Please remember, Pakistan is a nuclear state. They have volleyed missiles back and forth between the countries. Pakistan also deployed some F-16s on the border here. Now, that has the escalation of that has declined a little bit. Now, both claim they're going after terrorists, and there's been a group of people. Baluchistan is a region in this area. Now, those folks have been taking the brunt of it from both sides. Iran launched into western Iraq at U.S. bases. They have continued that. We're going to have some more on that. Some things happened this morning. This appears to be escalating. Also, Iran launched missiles, ballistic missiles, into northern Syria near Aleppo, loosely right there at the tip of the finger on the cursor in modern day Syria. That also happened on the 16th. They were busy on the 16th. Iran was firing their ballistic missiles, and that they feel bold enough to say, "Hey, look what we have." Escalated the situation, and then of course, with all their proxies, with Hamas and Hezbollah here in Lebanon, in the north of Israel, and then the Gaza Strip, have launched into Israel and are fighting a proxy war with Israel as well. So, and of course, shipping drones and missiles and so forth to the Russians for their intervention, special military operation, in Ukraine, which that's coming up on 2 years now. That's pretty amazing. We're coming up on 2 years of that in Ukraine. Doesn't seem like it, but it's been going on that long. And of course, this is Iran through the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. So you see that those initials thrown around frequently. Well, they've been busy. This is from Joyce Karam. May mispronounce that. My apologies. She is from Al Monitor, I believe. Yeah, almonitor.com. Nice little summary of events. What happened? This started on the 15th of January. Attack on U.S. ship by Yemen Houthis. U.S. intercepting second attack in the Red Sea. Israel strikes in Gaza. Stabbing and car ramming near Tel Aviv in Israel. That's in northern Israel on the Mediterranean. IRGC, that'd be Iran attacking Iraq. IRGC attack in Syria near Aleppo, I believe it is. And she says, even for the Middle East, this is beyond usual instability. Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's escalated from the 15th. And here's the latest. This would have been on the 18th. Iran-Pakistan escalation. Pakistan airstrikes inside of Iran, 7 locations, 20 kilometers inside of Iran. Again, Baluchi targets. You'll hear both Iran and Pakistan hitting, quote, Baluchi targets. 7 killed near Saravan. Less than 48 hours after the IRGC hit in Pakistan. It's the first time since the 80s in the Iran-Iraq War. Iran military exercises on the border today. So both countries, Iran and Pakistan, have moved military resources to the border of their countries. I'll back this up. And again, that's this area right in here. Specifically, I want to say in this area. But look that up as well for those of you who want a deeper dive. Also, you can click on these articles. Pakistan conducts strikes inside Iran as China, Turkey call for restraint. I saw this morning. I'm going to wait till we get a little more clarification. Would appear Turkey and Iran are getting together for a little summit. Been waiting on that because we have essentially 2 factions of Islam. Shia, that'd be Iran, Sunni, Muslim Brotherhood, Turkey. They're going to need to reconcile before Ezekiel 38 and 39 coalesce, come together. Those 2 have been kind of the sticking point of all of this. But, as military stuff picks up, they get into focus as to who they think the real problem is, which will be Israel. I suspect they will Scripture says they will come together. Ezekiel 38 and 39, and that's what's interesting. So when you think about Ezekiel 38 and 39, Russia right up here is going to come down, and they're going to have the support of Iran, Libya, arguably down here from the south, the Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, off the Horn, going to come from the south. But this whole area, come down here, there's the Black Sea, here's the Caspian Sea, going to come down the land between, or the Caucasus, and will enter Israel from the north. It's what the prophecy says in Ezekiel 38 and 39. And then this group from the south is going to stand around and kind of watch it. You coming to take plunder? Saudis right there. But you can see how these things are forming. And I also would happen to think they're going to control Syria. Russia pretty much is controlling Syria. Got to get rid of these terrorists out of here in northern Syria and northern Iraq. Don't want those folks. But you can see how this is all going to happen. Come in from the north, the Golan Heights. There's Lebanon right there in the black fingertip or pointer finger. That's how that's going down, according to Ezekiel 38 and 39. So you can see these things really starting to take shape. And then I suspect once we get Iran and Turkey together on the same page, this is going to escalate. It would stand to reason it's going to escalate. Which takes us to today. The Islamic resistance in Iraq, this is another proxy of the Iranians, has now claimed responsibility for the rocket and or ballistic missile attack on Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq. This is an American air base, which resulted in several injuries to Iraqi and American military personnel. There's their statement, in the name of God the most, continuing our approach to resisting the American occupation forces in Iraq and the region in response to the massacres, the Zionist entity against our people in Gaza, the Mujahideen of Islamic resistance in Iraq attacked the occupied Ain al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq with a missile salvo. They say missiles. That's up for debate. Some people say, well, I guess that's a ballistic missile or just a plain old missile. I don't know. It doesn't matter either way. They're claiming they did it. And just to give you an idea, so here following the red cursor, this is where the Al-Assad Air Base is located, west of Baghdad. I'm going to back this out to give you guys a lay of the land here. So you can get a feel for everything that's going on. Here's Tehran, Iran here to the east. This is their base that was attacked. Again, Iranian proxies, missile attack. Unclear if it was ballistic missiles or garden variety missiles. Either way, destructive. We have Lebanon here, Turkey to the north. Here's Israel, Egypt. There's Libya right there. In the Saudi Arabia area. So then we'll scoot down. Here's all the action taking place in and around the Red Sea off the coast of Yemen. And remember, the Red Sea is effectively closed for business. And so anything coming from Asia, India has to go down here around the southern tip of Africa and back into the Mediterranean to Europe. Western shores of Europe before otherwise it would come through the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, Suez Canal into the Med. So you can see a huge difference in shipping, resources, cost, freight's going up. We haven't felt the effects of it yet. Estimates are we'll start to feel this come summer. Things will be delayed for summer. Flow of commerce will be affected. So more inflation coming to us soon. Probably, I don't know, 6-week lag, they say, somewhere around March, allegedly. So don't be surprised. Gas prices start going up. Oil-based products going up in cost as well. So good stuff. Now, the reported use of ballistic missiles against U.S. forces at Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq by who right now appears to have been Iranian-backed forces is a massive escalation and is likely seen by U.S. Central Command as crossing a red line, and this is from open source intelligence. Again, that was this morning, 9:35 a.m. Central Time in the United States. So this was kind of a happening situation. Leadership within U.S. Central Command, as well as other defense officials, let me back this up, have reportedly been urging the White House to allow them to go gloves off in order to halt any further threat by the Houthi terrorist group in western Yemen to commercial shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. According to officials, several options have been presented to U.S. President Biden, which he has continually denied. These include a larger scale air campaign involving the Air Force over western Yemen to destroy any Houthi offensive capability, an amphibious operation against several ports, including Hodeidah in western Yemen, and even limited strikes on targets within Iran to send a message about further aid and support to the Houthis. Now, keep in mind, President Biden has given billions to Iran, thinking that this will somehow, hey, if we give them a little money, this will be all right. They'll understand we're here to help. And look what they've done with it. Anyway, so that again is from Open Source Intelligence, and quoting leadership, probably off the record. Well, not off the record, but an unnamed source of leadership within U.S. Central Command, as well as other defense officials, urging the White House to take the gloves off. Let's get after it. Let's quit messing around. They smell weakness. I mean, it's not helping either. Biden's out there, looks lost, struggles to complete sentences. It's not a good look. Not a good look. This happened this morning as well. Damascus, Syria. This is from the Times of Israel. Got a link for this one as well. 5 IRGC officers, including Syria intel chief, killed in Damascus strike blamed on Israel. Revolutionary Guard's deputy intel chief in Syria also among the dead. Security source says multi-story building entirely flattened by precision targeted Israeli missiles, allegedly. An alleged Israeli strike on Damascus killed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard intelligence chief for Syria and his deputy, as well as 2 other guards members on Saturday. This is per the Iranian media. Here's the quote. The Revolutionary Guard Syria intel chief, his deputy, and 2 other guards members were martyred in the attack on Syria on Syria by Israel. Iran's Mir news agency said, quoting an informed but unnamed source. 5 people dead in the strike. So, here are the alleged dead. General O, we're going to say. Intelligence officer of the Guards Expeditionary Quds Force in Syria. So the Quds Force, again, Al-Quds, that's what the Iranians call Jerusalem. They want to take Jerusalem. That's why they've named it the Quds Force. And his deputy, who goes by the nom de guerre, Haj Gholam, so the name of war, a little French. IRGC later issued statements identifying the 5 dead. I don't speak Farsi or Arabic very well, so we'll let that roll. You guys can read there for yourselves. Building completely destroyed. That's pretty much the gist of the article. Again, you can click on this if you want to read more detail. That's why we provide all these resources for you. So, moving away, excuse me, we're going to go to Ezekiel 38, 2 verse A, part A. Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog. So Magog, or modern day Russia, continues in its special military operation in Ukraine. And there was this event the past week from Military Eye on X. Russian sources reported a few days ago NATO troops movements along Poland, Belarus, and Kaliningrad border. We're going to go to a map, get out of the Middle East. We're going to go up in here into Europe. There we go. Okay, there's Moss. There we got it to come up. Moscow over here to the east. Kaliningrad, this is the area we're talking about. This is considered part of Russia. So that way Russia has a port in the Baltic Sea. This is Russia. Transfer of American Stryker Battalion armored personnel carriers was noticed 30 kilometers from Grodno in Belarus. And you can get a feel for where this is taking place. And then here's the little gap. This is like a little travel corridor between Belarus and Kaliningrad, which is Russia. And this is their lifeline. The Russian lifeline is through Belarus to Kaliningrad. It's how they get things from Moscow, Russia, through Belarus, Minsk, again, Grodno. Whoops. Get off of that. And then they'll come through this corridor for, and then also it's a way to get resources from the Baltic Sea to Russia, to Moscow. They've got other things up here too. They have their own little port up near St. Petersburg. But just another foothold within the Russian complex. Also, again from Military Eye, GPS jamming around Kaliningrad. This is from the 16th. Shows how with the GPS jamming around Kaliningrad, this jammed essentially the northern half of Poland. Lost their GPS capabilities. NATO surveillance was affected. That didn't go over well. Some perceive. I've seen different things on this. This is a quote routine yearly test. I've heard also some people saying, "Hey, this was more than usual and an escalation." I feel pretty confident it's Russia letting Poland know, "Hey, we can do this." It's pretty specific to Poland where this happened. Coincidentally or something. And then we transfer out of Europe. United States Navy appears to have ordered the surge development of the USS Theodore Roosevelt and the remainder of the carrier Strike Group 9, who departed from Naval Base San Diego on Friday, heading towards the Western Pacific. The Roosevelt was expected to deploy within the next few months to replace the USS Carl Vinson, but it seems this has come much earlier than expected without any kind of announcement of press release from the Navy. Deployment is likely linked to rising tensions in the Middle East following strikes against the Houthis in Yemen, as well as near Taiwan. And it's like, why would they be going to the Western Pacific? It's because of Taiwan and China, where the pro-independence vice president had recently won the presidential election, causing anger within the Chinese government. And that was within Taiwan. Possible the Roosevelt or another carrier may be moving towards the Middle East, with the USS Gerald R. Ford recently departing from the Eastern Mediterranean without a replacement after being underway for over months, leaving only the USS Eisenhower in the CENTCOM area of operations and the USS Baton, who was supposed to be replaced soon by the USS Boxer, but has now been delayed by at least 2 months. So, according to U.S. Navy officials, there has been a significant issue recently with the replacement of ships which are currently deployed, caused by the ongoing war in the Middle East, undermanning, and maintenance problems. So, sounds like we're having maintenance and supply chain considerations with our Navy. Not a surprise. Anyway, and that closes the military portion. And from there, we will transfer to one world governance. As a friendly reminder, Revelation 13, verses 16 through 17 And the second beast required all people, small and great, all people, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of its name. So there is a time coming when there will be a one world government and one world economic system. And with that, the world's wealthy and elite met this past week in Davos, Switzerland, to discuss ideas about the micromanagement of the planet and its population. This year's theme at the World Economic Forum in Davos, rebuilding trust. And this was held from the 15th through the 19th this past week. So we're rebuilding trust, they tell us, which implicates they've got a trust issue, haven't been necessarily honest. Uh, and when you see where the World Economic Forum has its fingers in all these different agencies, yeah, we don't trust you. That's very accurate. Now, some of the topics discussed this week in Switzerland, in Davos, but not limited to: central bank digital currencies, digital IDs. So if we have a digital ID and digital money, we can track everything you do. Got to have a cell phone to do that, and we'll hook that up for you. We've got the software capability. We're gonna, they want to eliminate cash transactions, turn everything digitally. Allows for easier flow of economic money, instant, it's faster, they tell us. They talked about health considerations like vaccines. Also, with these digital IDs, you can track, make sure you're up to date with your vaccines. I think it was the Queen of Denmark was telling us what a wonderful idea that was. Head of the WHO, as others, talked about disease X. We don't know what it is, but we know it's out there and it will be an issue at some point. We need to be prepared for disease X. These folks are obsessed with world food sources. They want to eliminate meat as a food source. Not being funny, they want us eating bugs, and we'll like it, they tell us. Very concerned about climate change. They've declared war on farming. John Kerry was over there uh, talking about, we got to, and there are lots of people out there who think we've got to eliminate farming techniques and get rid of farmers. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And then we have young people who don't understand, well, if we don't have farmers, we don't have food. I mean, and you ask them, where's food come from? Well, the store. And they don't understand supply chains. They don't understand food's grown or raised. The level of ignorance is off the charts. No clue. But these people at the World Economic Forum, they want their grubby little fingers in every aspect of our lives. They talked about nuclear energy, how we need to go. It's a nice, clean source of energy. And of course, they want to bring peace to the planet. Matthew 23, verse 27, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. Well, we should just insert these people at the World Economic Forum as well. You hypocrites. This is Jesus talking. You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and every kind of impurity. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to be righteous, but on the inside, you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. And so here is a shamanic ritual, like their little prayer or religious ceremony. This is from, yeah. Did not know Elizabeth Warren was at Davos. Kind of funny. Just a joke. Everybody relax. You guys are pro Elizabeth Warren. Just having a little fun. You need the sound turned up on this. Uh, I couldn't tell if she's kind of spitting or blowing air into her hands. Maybe a little bit of both. And then whatever native language or tongue she was speaking in. But this is a ritual medicine woman. And then she goes and kind of blows, coughs, spittles onto each one of this. Some very clever commentary. Almost sounds like she's spitting her. into these people's foreheads like, "Yeah, isn't that nice?" Spreading disease at the World Economic Forum. Very healthy lifestyle choice right there. Everybody go wash your hands and foreheads. And these folks, they need to be entertained. Make your reservations early, or you run the risk of missing out. Now, allegedly, this is according to the New York Post, $2,500 a night is reported to be the going rate for a sex worker at Davos this past week. The meeting appears to be heading in the usual direction of drug fueled sex parties. Local escort services officially announced all service providers are completely booked during the World Economic Forum. There's Klaus. He's the head of the World Economic Forum. And that's the thing. All these folks are unelected. And they get some of their money from the United States government. Why we fund this, I have no idea. But they got plenty of people, rich elites, billionaires, fund this stuff. And they all sit around and decide what's best for us and how they want to change things to make the world a better place. They do believe in depopulation. Jane Goodall talks about that. And these weather warriors, they love to lecture us about global warming, and it's estimated at least 1,500 private jets flew in and out of Switzerland during this week-long party. Over 3,000 invited delegates. It's from Wall Street Silver. This is outstanding. I don't know who he got the cartoon from, but this is funny. All the private jets are flying into Davos this week for their discussions on how everyone else should consume less, except them, of course. We are looking forward to all of the ridiculous videos coming from the WEF of their plans for the little people of the world. No meat for the peasants, while they probably dine on, I think it was Wagyu beef, the finest beef. They do in these private jets, little Lear jets, just scattered all over the place. Hurry, we don't want to miss Greta. She's talking. Go to the New York Post. Get a feel. Davos party secrets, caviar, magic mushrooms, champagne, A-list, private concerts. I mean, this is a great time. Somebody's watching. Forget the fondue, secret dinners, good times in Switzerland. And of course, it's all about this year's theme, rebuilding trust. And they say when you go there, you can almost smell the magic of the place when you're there. How that's just got to be great. May run into Bill Gates. You're around some of the smartest people in the world, but one thing you learn is they're not always so smart. And here's all the jets. Got some pictures of all these jets lined up at the airport. Landing in Zurich. There's Davos. Pretty little village in Switzerland is where they all gather. And there's your caviar. You could have caviar with a nice green little shoot in an ice cream cone. Waffle cone. Elite cocktail parties. Soon as the masters of the universe touch down. Klaus Schwab, while portrayed as a real-life Dr. Evil in far-right circles, probably more of a high-rent P.T. Barnum than a sinister global conspiratist. I don't know. He says a lot of stuff. I take him at his word. Talks about us owning nothing and liking it. Need to eat bugs, he says. Color-coded badges, so we understand where you fit in the pecking order. I think we got yes, here it is. So according to the color of your badge, it tells you where you are. Now you want a white with a blue line, and you're an official delegate if you have one of those. If you have a little blue dot, strategic partners who pay $500,000 or more. So you get access to a secret elevator, secret VIP room. Turns out to be exactly the same as all the other rooms at the center, but it's special because you have a blue dot. Spouses, you have white badges. You can feel important and you're ignored at the same time. The working press, you will have orange. This is what they want to do. And the minions down here, white with a blue photo, promenade with red and yellow. You can go into the hotels. Get a green badge if you're part of the entourage or the posse of some famous person. Purple, you're a technician behind the scenes, standing on a roof for hours in freezing temperatures, pointing a video camera at men in suits who do a 5-minute interview. Well, that's pretty cool. So you're a member of the press. You get the drift of what's going on here. There's our man Anthony Scaramucci. He hosts an event. He throws a party there every year. So Ferris Bueller is what he reminds me of. Ferris Bueller's out there throwing a party. Is that Naomi? Yes, that is Naomi Campbell. She was invited and scheduled to attend Davos this year. It's a big deal to have the celebrities there, have the concerts. There's Macron, president of France, making him a must-get for guests at the party scene. All right, good. Zelensky was there from Ukraine. My man Javier Milei from Argentina. Now, he spoke about freedom. Probably not something they wanted to hear about. And they did edit his closing remarks. When you follow Argentinian President Milei, he closes, "Long live effing freedom." Well, they edited that out. We can't have that. And instead, it was "Long live freedom, damn it." So they cleaned that up for us. That was very nice of them. Policy discussions. Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase CEO. Everyone wants at their elite dinner OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Hey, Sam, we want to talk to you. How can you help us? And here's all the cooks and the chefs making all the nice little fancy pastries and foods for everybody. So Lenny Kravitz has been there in the past. will.i.am, he's a regular at Davos. He'll be there again this year. Black Eyed Peas have been there in the past. Bottles of alcohol for $800, $995, almost $1,000. Champagne. It's a good time. It's a good time. Nice looking hors d'oeuvres. Almost wouldn't want to eat that art. I mean, my goodness. Anyway, there's Deepak Chopra. He went there last year. Enough of the big party. You get the flavor of it. So appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to This Week in Prophecy. Things are escalating, it would appear, in the Middle East. Please feel free to share with others at PaulthePoke.com. I thank you for those who take the time to share and comment. Much appreciated. And just as a thought, crack open the Old Testament and start reading the prophets. It's unbelievable, man. It's like when you understand where the ancient names are and you can relate to that with a modern day map, it is literally like reading the headlines of our world's press. It's crazy. It's happening. The question is just how much longer before he returns. So get square with the Lamb of God before he comes back as a lion. He died for your sin. Much, much better to know Jesus at that level, than to understand him when he returns as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So y'all take it easy. Be in touch if anything wild and crazy happens. Take care. Bye.